Hi, welcome to Lanas y Ovillos, the English channel. In this tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this blouse. You can find the pattern of this blouse in my website. I'm wearing an extra large size. You can find also in my website hundreds of crochet, knitting and amigurumi patterns. They are free. You can find the link on the description below and at the top of the video. And if you are new in this channel, remember to subscribe and click on the bell to receive the notifications of my new videos. Let's go with a step by step. To make this blouse in a extra large size, I used 210 grams of this yarn. The recommended needle is between 3 and 4 millimeters. I used 3.25 millimeters knitting needles with a cable of 60 centimeters, but you can also use straight needles. I used also scissors and a tapestry needle. To make an extra large size, you have to cast on 246 stitches. 246 stitches. This is the number of stitches to make the front part and the back part. We are working from the bottom part to the top part in circular. So cast on the number of stitches, and remember that you can find the pattern of other sizes in my website. And once you have all the stitches, if you are working with straight needles, you only have to turn. And if you are working with circular needles, remember to be careful where are the knots to keep the stitches straight. And you have to start working 3 rows with the garter stitch. To work the garter stitch, you have to start with a row with knit stitches, all the row with knit stitches. Once you have all the knit stitches, you can place a stitch marker if you want. You have to work the second row with the garter stitch. If you are working with straight needles, remember the garter stitch is all the rows with the knit stitch, so work the knit stitch. If you are working with straight needles, in my case I am using circular needles, so I am going to purl all the row to make the garter stitch. Purl all the row to make the garter stitch with circular needles. And once you are at the end of the second row, start the row number 3. If you are working with straight needles, you have to work the knit stitch in all the row. To make the garter stitch with the circular needles, you have to continue with 1 row with knit stitch. Remember, to make the garter stitch with circular needles is row with knit stitches, 1 row with purl stitches. So now I have to make 1 row with knit stitches. Now you have to continue working the stockinette stitch. If you are working with straight needles, now you have to make 1 row with knit stitches and 1 row with purl stitches. In my case, I'm working with circular needles, so I have to work the knit stitch all the rows, only make knit stitches. And in my case I will stop once I have 40 centimeters. Now you have to divide the stitches by 2. Place a stitch marker and take a tapestry needle. You can leave the stitches on the cable if you want. In my case I will leave the stitches on a piece of yarn. So take the tapestry needle and pass all the stitches of one of the sides. Then make a knot. Those are the stitches that we will work later. And now I'm going to work the lace diamond stitch in one of the parts. Now we have to work only the front part. So in my case, take the edge stitch. This stitch is multiple of 6 plus 7 stitches, and I will add 2 extra stitches to make the edge stitch. So knit 1, knit 2 together and yarn over. This is what you have to make at the beginning of the row, and repeat to the end of the row. Knit 1, yarn over, slip 1 stitch, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over the second stitch. This is a decrease. Then knit 1, then knit 2 together. This is another decrease, and yarn over. This is what you have to repeat to have 5 stitches. Knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1 and pass the slip stitch over the knit 1, knit 1, knit 2 together and yarn over. Repeat to the end. Once you are at the end, you have to knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1 and pass the slip stitch over the knit 1, knit 1, and in my case I will purl the last stitch, the edge stitch. This is the row number 1 of the lace diamond stitch. Row number 2, you have to work all the stitches with the purl stitch. Take the edge stitch and purl all the stitches of the row number 2. Row number 3. Take the edge stitch and start with knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, and you have to repeat to the end. Knit 2, yarn over, a treble decrease. To make the treble decrease you have to slip 1, knit 2 together, pass the slip 1 over the knit 2 together, yarn over, and knit 1. Repeat again, knit 2, yarn over, the treble decrease, remember, slip 1, knit 2 together, pass the knit 1 over the knit 2 together, yarn over and knit 1. This is what you have to repeat to the end. Once you are at the end, you have to knit 2, yarn over and slip 1, knit 1 and pass the slip stitch over the knit stitch and purl the last edge stitch. This is the row number 3. Row number 4, you have to work the purl stitch in all the stitches. Work the purl stitch in the row number 4. Row number 5. Take the edge stitch and start with knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1 and pass the stitch over the knit 1. This is the first part, and now repeat to the end. Knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1 and pass slip 1, knit 1 and pass the slip stitch over the knit stitch, and repeat again. Knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip 1, knit 1, pass the slip stitch over the knit stitch, and this is what you have to repeat to the end. And once you are at the end, you have to knit 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1 and work the edge stitch with a purl stitch. This is the row number 5. Row number 6. Work the purl stitch to the end. Work the purl stitch on the row number 6. Row number 7, take the edge stitch and knit 2, yarn over and repeat to the end. The treble decrease, remember, slip 1, knit 2 together and pass the slip stitch over the knit 2 together, then yarn over, knit 3 and yarn over. Start the repetition again with a treble decrease, then yarn over, knit 3 and yarn over. This is what you have to repeat to have 6 stitches. Once you have 6 stitches, you have to make a treble decrease, yarn over, knit 2 and purl the last stitch. This is the row number 7. Row number 8, you have to work the purl stitch in all the row. Work the purl stitch in the row number 8. have to repeat 6 times this lace diamond stitch 6 times. And once you are at the end of the 6th repetition, you have to work 1 row with knit stitches, one row with knit stitches, and then you have to bind off. You have to purl 1, take the edge stitch, purl 1, pass the purl stitch over the 2nd stitch, purl 1 again, and pass the previous stitch over the 2nd stitch, and this is what you have to repeat to bind off all the stitches. Once you bind off all the stitches, you have to leave a long tail for sewing. You have to cut the yarn and take the stitches off the back part that you have on the yarn. Take the needles and take the stitches again to the knitting needles. And repeat the same that you made on the front part. You have to work 6 times the lace diamond stitch and then finish with 1 knit row and bind off all the stitches. Once you have the back part, you only have to join the shoulders with a tapestry needle. You have to sew the shoulders. And if you made this blouse with straight needles, you also have to sew the sides of the blouse. Well, that's all. I hope you like it. Remember to give me a like, to share and subscribe to receive the notifications of my new videos. Thank you for watching and see you on the next video.